I just had a thought. Imagine if I didn't speak for like 20 minutes on video. And then I just titled the video "Sit with me in silence for 20 minutes." I've noticed that silence is like the most important thing to me right now. One of the most important things that I'm trying to integrate into my life. My ego really wants to go forward, move forward, move forward. Next thing, next thing, next thing. Read the book. Next thing, read the book. Next thing. You know. I've noticed it just like it leads me to feel quite overwhelmed. I have to slow down in order to integrate everything that I've learned already. I noticed something that I used to do before I started taking videos was I used to go by this 1% rule. It was like this 1% better every single day. And I think it kept my ego in check, in the sense that it stopped me from constantly trying to move too many steps ahead of myself, and instead to just focus on integrating what I'm doing now and then just adding one step extra, one extra decision. And it could be very small. One small decision that you make every single day to just kind of like change, like improve. But I noticed that silence really, you learn a lot in silence. Sometimes a lot more than reading a book. Like sitting in silence and being in certain environments in silence, you receive a lot of information. There's a quote from Rick Rubin's book where it says, by communing with nature, we come closer to our own nature. So that was a cool quote. I was going to use that at some point. A friend who watches my videos would sometimes say to me, "Alex, you could do anything on these videos. You could just sit in silence for the whole time and I think it would be good." It's just come to me now, in this current state that I'm in, that I can actually just sit in silence and that's okay. And that the video doesn't need to be anything. Carl Cease talked about this in his shows. He has like these big shows, and he was saying about how we'd actually learn a lot more about ourselves if we all just sat in silence for 3 days rather than having this big inspirational talk. Obviously there's room for both, but I think always moving forward isn't actually the best thing that you can do for yourself. Sometimes just being where you are and taking in all of what you are currently is more than enough. I sometimes like I'll have conversations with people and they'll ask me, oh, like what's new? What's been sort of going on with you? Sort of thing. And it's always so interesting to like watch myself sort of fumble in trying to explain what I'm sort of doing. And I noticed that when I mentioned the YouTube, something material, then they switch on and they're like, oh, that's really cool. Oh, well done, man. That's really, yeah. But the internal growth that I'm doing isn't easily communicated. And that's the majority of the work that I'm doing. It's like this rewriting narratives and also just embracing these like crunchy, gritty parts of myself, these dark, void parts of myself, which it feels like a lot of work. It's a lot of emotional work. It feels like a full-time job, and I believe that. Whether somebody else does is another thing. But I'm balancing work and like earning money whilst also doing this. I work at events in London, and it's good because it actually has nothing to do with any of this. So it kind of distracts me a little bit. The work that I do by myself is very different to the work that I do there, and it's more physical. So I'm not thinking about what I'm doing so much, and it's social as well. So I'm speaking to people. So it takes my mind off things. But I always find myself having deep conversations with people anyway. Like, I'm always asking people, like, what are you struggling with? Trying to understand what's actually going on beneath people's surfaces, behind the external work that they're doing. Like, yeah, they might book this big job, or they might be doing something materially, but what are they sort of struggling with at the moment? And then I always find that the conversation turns into a much more interesting conversation. It's quite simple, that conversation. It's something that you generally have with like your closest friends or your family. Like, what are you sort of struggling with at the moment? Because it grounds you, having those types of conversations. Yeah, I think it takes it out of your mind, and you express it, and that helps. It helps through writing. It helps through speaking. This isn't new information. Everybody knows this. It helps to express these things. It's good to have a space where you can, and to also create spaces for other people so they can. I need it. I know that for sure. That's why I gain so much from doing these videos. Just providing a space for myself to express how I'm feeling. It's really powerful. I sort of tell people my morning routine sometimes, and they're kind of like, wow, you do like kind of like a lot of introspection, like right off the bat as soon as waking up. Like, I wake up and I write what I dreamt about, because I believe that my dreams, this from experience, that my dreams tell me a lot about myself, what's going on in my subconscious. So I write what I dreamt about, and I'm sort of like somewhat analyzing it. I'm like, oh, it's that. And then I write a conscious stream of thought, which is just whatever comes to my mind. I've noticed, like, for me, the mornings is where my mind is really active. It's really thinking and analyzing and trying to, yeah, it's active. And I've spoken to people about it, and they've found that actually evenings they're more active. So maybe writing in the evenings might be better for them. But for me, I've always been a morning person. My most in the mornings. I noticed that after I've done my writing, I just embrace silence, and I noticed that in these times where I embrace silence, I create an environment where divine inspiration occurs. These like spontaneous thoughts, and feels like deep, honest conversations with myself and a higher being occur, and it only happens in silence for me, when all the noise kind of drifts away, all the thoughts kind of just drift away, and I'm in this place of like stillness. And I think from that place I start to make clearer. I start to make clearer decisions, like a deeper sense of clarity kicks in. It really is that cold. My hands are just literally like, I am so grateful for the generosity, the attentiveness, and the abundance of the universe to my needs. I'm provided for with such grace and love. All resources for my life purpose to be joyfully and successfully expressed are freely given to me. May all beings feel the loving embrace of the universe and fulfill their sacred purpose. Thank you.